Hi, welcome. Oh my goodness, it's so exciting to be here. Join you all for the Anthem Awards and our amazing conversation on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and all the special projects that were done to create systemic change in our communities. My name is Ashley T. Brundage, and I'm honored and excited to moderate such an amazing discussion. But let's learn about our amazing winners and hear from them around how they've driven impacts. So let's go ahead and start first with Project Lucy, Shattering Age, Race, Gender, Bias. And let's turn it over to Lillian Gilden, the founder and president, Global Women 50, LLC, DBA, Lucy.
Thank you, Ashley. Winning a silver award was exciting news for the Lucy team, and we're also honored to be among such prestigious talent. Our thanks to the Anthem judges for this great honor of validating Lucy's mission. We're incredibly grateful to Lucy's high-profile talent dedicated to the mission of producing podcast series, videos, and in the development of the innovative, engaging features and the brilliant branding and design of Lucy's community platform. If you were a live audience, I would ask you to raise your hand on whom you think Lucy is. If you viewed the Lucy Award announcement and Lucy website, you got it. Many of you do know that in 1974, archaeologists in Ethiopia discovered the fossils of the first woman who walked upright. That was 3.2 million years ago. You can guess the Beatles song that was played on that celebration day. Lucy today is reaching for the sky to inspire women in the 50-plus range to stand and walk together in meeting the challenges of the escalating forces of ageism, gender bias, and racism. Lucy recognizes that discrimination and inequality are proliferating, especially for women in African American, Latinx, Asian American, Native American nations, and the LGBT communities. Lucy's goal is to enhance the confidence of all women, overcoming their fears and be their dream in spite of ethnicity, sexual orientation, and age. My team and I can't tell you what an encouragement this award is. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, that was amazing. You know, the intersections between age and gender and all of our other differences is so important. I actually studied these differences for over 8 years in forming this and how empowerment was really important. So I'm really excited to learn more about your project. And I would love to hear from our next project champion, Project Forward Rhythm, and KR Liu, who is the head of brand accessibility at Google, is going to tell us more. So let's hear it.
Thank you, Ashley. First, I want to give a visual description of myself for those who can't see me. I'm a white female with short blonde hair. I'm wearing a gray and black jacket with a black t-shirt. And I have a gray and white abstract painting behind me, and I'm in my home office in Seattle, Washington. First, I want to thank the Anthem Awards for this incredible honor. We are very thrilled to be able to tell the story and share the story. Accessibility is core in our mission statement and central to our existence as a brand. We are driven by the mission of helping disabled people pursue their passions to enrich the world for everyone. And in this project, we highlighted how Google's human-centered approach to AI is creating accessibility solutions that allow disabled people to innovate, create, and expand the world by doing what they love. More and more people in the disability community are co-creators of the tools that help them and others pursue their goals and live the lives that they want. With Forward Rhythm, we set out to tell the emotional story of how Jason unlocked his full potential and followed his passions with the help from Google technology. We did this as part of Global Accessibility Awareness Day, launching an inclusive and fully accessible film, social media campaign, editorial, and digital experience that included disability not only in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well. Jason Barnes has loved drums his entire life. This didn't change when he lost his arm in 2012. Today, Jason's love of music has led to the creation of one of the most advanced drumming prosthesis limbs in the world, and he is one of the millions of people with disabilities doing what they love. Our campaign celebrates Jason's amazing journey, showcasing the potential for machine learning to advance accessibility causes built by and for the disability community. Again, we want to thank everyone for this incredible honor, and we really enjoyed telling Jason's story and many others with disabilities and the impact that they have in our society.
Thank you so much, KR, and your commitment to accessibility, disability inclusion, especially for those who have differing abilities. I can tell you that this work is so important. I had the pleasure of actually doing DEI work for a major corporation for 6 years, and it is so important to empower people who have differing abilities. And I actually have a hidden disability of my own. And I really loved how you positioned yourself for those who might have the privilege of not being able to, who have the privilege of seeing. And so I think it's really important to do that. So thank you so much for setting that standard for all of us. So we have more projects. So let's make sure that we keep on track here on time. But let's go next to a project for FOLX Health and Trans Lifeline HRT Care Fund. Nina Kossoff, the Director of Community, is here to take us away. So Nina, thank you so much.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you for having me. And it's really exciting for FOLX to be recognized with this award, especially as a company as young as we are, and as based in work for marginalized community from the outset as we are. So with that, so FOLX is a virtual healthcare platform focused specifically on the LGBTQIA+ community. We provide end-to-end virtual primary care, hormone replacement therapy, PrEP, care navigation, peer groups, content, and community, and all of this with this exceptional, diverse network of LGBTQ specialized providers. When we launched just over a year ago, we knew that as introducing ourselves as a self-pay service, we still needed to create a way for the most marginalized LGBTQ community members to financially access care, and specifically for transgender, Black and Indigenous people and people of color. 15% of trans people report being verbally, physically, sexually abused in healthcare settings. And 1 in 3 trans people live in poverty and actively avoid healthcare due solely to cost. And so we knew in creating a digital healthcare offering, we wanted to create an accessible pathway to FOLX provided services. This ultimately led to our partnership with the incredible team at Trans Lifeline, the HRT Care Fund. Knowing that our community has historically paid it forward to support one another. And that's beautiful and incredible. We ultimately chose to put the ask on LGBTQ allies, however, to fund the cost of care through the HRT Care Fund. So it was really a putting your money where your mouth is by way of asking our allies to support this. So FOLX ultimately reached out to ally partners to step up for this year-round support, so especially outside of Pride Month, to directly cover the cost of grantees' access to gender-affirming care through FOLX. In our first year of the HRT Care Fund, we ultimately raised around $250,000 from both major and individual donors, which is incredible as a new fund and as a new company, including $100,000 from our friends at Nordstrom. This ultimately led to just over 100 one-year grants for gender-affirming care. So we're just coming up on the expiration of our first round of grantees, which is pretty wild. And 75% of all of those grants we set aside specifically for people of color. Applications for our grants filled in seconds. Now we have around just over 100 grantees receiving gender-affirming care through FOLX, and we're aiming for more as we grow everything.
Well, this is amazing. Well, I feel like I have so many intersections to all of you winners here, because I certainly am very open about my status as being a member of the LGBTQ and trans community. So I can't thank you enough. I personally did not have access to healthcare, health-affirming care for the first 7 years of my gender transition. So So I do definitely know what that's like, and I can't thank you enough for all the work that you're doing and bringing visibility to much needed services. Let's see. They just keep getting better and better. This is amazing. The next project is for Tiny Heroes and Maria Johnson, the VP of Development for Charity Water. Let's hear from you.
Hi, thank you so much, Ashley, and thank you for having us. Like you said, I'm with Charity Water, a nonprofit organization bringing clean and safe drinking water to people in developing countries. And this mission really is only made possible by the generosity of supporters who believe what we believe, which is that no person should be drinking dirty water. Tiny Heroes is an annual award launched in recognition of the kids who have absolutely blown us away over the years with their creativity and determination in raising awareness and funds for the mission of clean water. Tiny Heroes have collectively contributed over $1.8 million to our mission and have brought clean water to more than 45,000 people around the world. Some of the inspiring stories include girls like Nikta, who put on a virtual recital for her 11th birthday and raised funds to provide clean water for 54 people, or 10-year-old Josiah, who runs a recycling business and donates 10% of everything he owns to Charity Water. Tiny Heroes Award was inspired by a little girl from Seattle named Rachel Beckwith. In 2011, Rachel had asked her family and friends to contribute $9 in honor of her 9th birthday to celebrate her birthday through making a donation to her Charity Water campaign. And her goal was to raise $300 to help people in Ethiopia. And she ended up raising about $220. She went to her mom and said she would try again next year and she would try harder. Unfortunately, about a month later, Rachel was killed in a very tragic car accident. And because this campaign was so important to her in her lifetime, her family had come to Charity Water and asked our team to reopen her campaign so her community could really honor and celebrate Rachel's legacy by helping other people. And Rachel's story ended up making its way around the globe and inspiring thousands and thousands of people to get involved. In the end, over $1.2 million was raised by Rachel's campaign. And most importantly, it provided over 37,000 people in Ethiopia with clean and safe drinking water, some for the very first time. Each of Charity Water's Tiny Heroes have followed in Rachel's footsteps, proving that no matter how big, or how small, how young, or how old, everyone can make a difference. And we're incredibly honored that you've chosen to recognize them as part of the Anthem Awards. We're also proud to be among such an amazing and impactful group of fellow winners. Congratulations to each of you, and thank you again so much for this recognition.
Awesome. Not many things is more important than water. So, and of course, I have my clean water, so I know that this work is definitely making an impact. Thank you so much for bringing this to light. Our next project is Growing Living Language Preservation Project. And we're joined by Juanita PlentyHoles, the project director of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe, and Anthony Two Moons, the art director for the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. So thank you so much. We're excited to hear about your project.
Good afternoon, Mike. Can everybody hear me?
We got it.
Okay. So my name is Juanita PlentyHoles, and I'm the Tawahe project director for the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. So Ute Mountain Ute Tribe is located in Southwest Colorado, and we're a tribe made up of the Weenooch band of Ute Indians. And, you know, historically, they were hunters and gatherers. And so in the late 1700s through the 1800s, the way of life for the Utes changed with the policies and that were developed that affected tribes, including like the Homestead Act, the boarding school era. And so that impacted the Utes' way of life along with our culture and language. And, you know, those things are really important to us because they identify who we are as people. And our culture, our language was passed down verbally from generation to generation until those policies came up and they kind of changed. And so with that, we have, just like all tribes across the country, we're experiencing loss of our language, loss of our culture and some of the practices. And so, it's important to us as tribes that we hold on to those things because, like I said, they were passed down all these generations to now. So looking at that, we started our work here with with our preservation, our language preservation, and utilizing the technology that's available today. So for me, it's important to me because I'm considered an elder now in my tribe. And so what am I doing to pass that on and to make sure that my children, my relatives, that we're all passing it on to them so they can learn it and pass it on down as it's been all these years. And so that's what we started working on. And for me, it's important that we preserve it now because in the future we don't know what's going to happen. We may have a complete loss of that, but somewhere down the line, someone's always going to be interested in it, and they're going to say, what happened back then. I mean, I say that now. I think, what did the women do way back in the 1500s dealing with childbirth or different things. And so, we just want to make sure that we're preserving it through technology like recordings, the books. Ute is not a written language. And to this day, we don't have, probably in the late 1600s, the people started trying to write it based on how the words sounded. But we don't have an official written writing style right now. But so that's what we're doing. We're preserving it, and we're working with our elders and our youth, getting them together so they can share those things and get our youth interested in the culture and the language again, and start preserving it and talking Ute more so that we can increase the language, the usage of it, and our our dances, our songs, all that, passing it on to the next generation. Like to me, that's what we should be doing as elders, making sure that we're passing that on so our kids can continue that. So that's been our work with our preservation and the importance of it.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, so much. The preservation is so important. I mean, I just, language changes throughout time, and if we don't bring it to light, I mean, I'm so honored to be a part of this moment and seeing you win this award. So thank you so much.
And we just want to say thank you very much for recognizing our work and honoring us with that. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you. So our last project before we open up for our Q&A section is Curb Free with Cory Lee. And there is a little bit of a rhyme there to that, so I love it very much. But Cory Lee here, the accessible travel blogger and content creator, is here for you. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ashley. It's really an honor for me to be here in this company. These stories are amazing, and I'm excited to share my stories. So a little over 8 years ago, I was researching accessibility online for an upcoming trip to Australia. As a wheelchair user myself, I quickly noticed that there was a severe lack of accessible travel information on the internet. I couldn't find any information about accessible attractions, hotels, or transportation, and I knew in that moment that needed to change. The next day, I launched curbfreewithcorylee.com with the hope of providing useful travel information to wheelchair users around the world. On my blog, I show others how to travel, where to travel, and most importantly, why travel as a person with a disability. Since launching Curb Free with Cory Lee in December of 2013, I've traveled to 39 countries and written all about my adventures on my blog. I became the first person to visit all 7 continents in a powered wheelchair. I've won numerous awards, such as this Incredible Anthem Award. I've led annual group trips in places like Morocco, which is pictured here. Iceland, Costa Rica, and we have an upcoming trip to Patagonia and Chile scheduled for this November, which we're very excited about. And my readers and followers have joined me on all of those group trips. And just 1 week ago, I launched my newest endeavor, the Curb Free Foundation, which is my nonprofit organization that will provide travel grants to wheelchair users. The most wonderful part of this entire journey, though, has been that finally destinations around the world are seeing the need for accessibility and becoming more aware of inequities in the travel industry. 1 in 5 people approximately have a disability. So the need for accessibility is definitely there. And through my work, I hope to shine a light on the importance of access for wheelchair users around the world. Travel can change lives, push people to break out of their comfort zones, create a more empathetic world, and fill the soul with happiness. And this should be available to everyone, regardless of their abilities. Thank you.
Wow, it's a basic human right to be able to see all the continents of the world. And I'm on that mission myself. So I need to take some tips from you on how to get there.
Absolutely. Let's chat.
Wow. So we have heard from all of our winning projects, and now I feel like it's time to bring everybody back together. And let's talk a little bit about some of the questions. So I've had the luxury of doing DEI work for a major financial services corporation, PNC Bank. I was their DEI VP for 6 years. And we had a team of people doing this work. We had a team of people building accessibility programs and celebrating cultural awareness. And this was way before George Floyd was murdered. So, and now, I've done some research. I do my own I have my own organization doing DEI work, and I've done a little bit of research here in this space, and I've realized that about 80% of the organizations that are making a DEI commitment, usually it all falls on one person. And I know in many cases you all are championing work for your organizations, or your projects, or your impact. But what are we doing in this space to try to prevent burnout? Because I know that you are all being attacked from every single angle and trying to champion for social justice, and it gets really emotional. So give me kind of that one thing that each of you do that tries to minimize burnout to stay on track.
I can kick it off and break the ice. But I'm a team of one, so I definitely feel what you're saying about burnout. When I was starting out, after I launched the travel blog and started traveling in depth a lot, I really, started getting tired of just constantly traveling and trying to showcase accessibility around the world. Traveling as a wheelchair user, it isn't easy by any means. It's a constant stress, pretty much, but definitely worth it. But I think one thing that I do to prevent burnout is really just try to constantly remember why I'm doing it. And so I keep notes of anytime I get like a message from someone saying, that they planned a trip to Italy because they saw that I went there, or they discovered a really cool attraction thanks to my blog post. I keep all of those comments in a sheet and just refer back to them every time I need a reminder that I'm doing the right thing and need to keep pushing forward. And that really just inspires me to keep going.
I love it. Anybody else have a thought about something you do?
Yeah, this is KR speaking. Totally agree with Cory. I think that the biggest thing for me is education. A lot of people within my organization have a lot of experience around accessibility or disability inclusion. And we do have a lot of disabled employees, but also bringing in the community to help bring a voice and perspective that's not within the organization, to also educate and lean on. So really building a circle to lean on externally too, that can help you through whether it's marketing campaigns, product development, even DEI initiatives internally for employees. That really helps take the burden and the stress off of certain individuals feeling like they have to carry all of that. And that also is really empowering too when you see the work out in the world and share those successes and wins like this one with your team really motivates people and see the impact of our work. So for me, and to Cory's point, when I see results like this, it gets people really excited and motivated to continue to do this work. And that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know we're getting short on time, so I want to try to get to some more of the questions here. So let's. So this next question I have is, so how do we engage potentially the people who aren't going to be jumping in line to be an ally? I think you're setting up right for allyship. But we say diversity, we say equity, we say inclusion, we say accessibility, we say all of these things that hopefully will drive an impact to bring a more equitable society for all of our humans in this world. But the moment we say that first word, diversity, we scare away 35% of the intended population. And the intended population is everybody in this work. So what do we do to really, really engage the people who we want to reach? Because we want to reach everybody and have them all be allies for this work. And anyone have any thoughts on that?
I would like to say, it's Lillian Gilden. I'd like to say that it's incredibly challenging, Ashley, what you're talking about. Oh my God. But it's about, in my experience anyway, it's about education and doing it in a way that is non-threatening and engaging and asking questions. I find that very effective. How would you feel if someone in your family was abused because of your sexuality or whatever? And that really has an effect on, it has an empowering effect, I think, in managing that. And hopefully that kind of maybe attitude or technique will, what should I say, become more prominent and effective in terms of making an impact.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it also is rooted in that education as far as speaking about our differences. And differences is not necessarily a polarizing word like diversity has been created as a polarizing word.
Differences.
So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I built my brand around empowering differences, so that way we didn't lose, hopefully we don't lose some of those people right off the beginning with the changing of the channel. So there is a really great question in the chat, and I want to make sure we at least get to one of those from Jose. And he says, how are panelists planning or organizing sustainability in your project? How are you going to make this sustainable? Anyone working towards the sustainability approach?
Well, for us, with our work, with our culture preservation, it's for our people. So, just like anything else, you're going to have your negative and your positive. And, it's just making sure that people are understanding where you're coming from. I always tell them how I feel it's important for me to be doing this work. And I always say it's our responsibilities. We receive those teachings in that. So it's our responsibility to move it forward. And, with engaging our young people and telling them, this is your history. These are your ancestors. They had all these, they passed on to us, and it's your responsibility too to learn them and pass them on. And so, I would say it's important for our tribe, for our people, for our identities. And so that kind of, boosts them up and makes them want to know more, makes them want to be engaged.
Well, I can't believe it. We've reached the end of our session. And of course, I'm not going to be the one that's responsible for running us over for the entire Anthem Awards. But thank you so much to all of you and your contributions to our world, because I know it's contributing to make it better. I've sent every single one of you a LinkedIn request, so hopefully we connect more and talk more about your projects and making that impact. I challenge all of the people watching to do the same thing, connect with them, follow them, amplify their work, because that will be empowering to their projects and drive more change for our community. So thank you so much for joining this segment. And I challenge you all to connect more and with all of these projects.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
a great
Thank you.
session. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.